equanimity, it's spoken of differently in different contexts, right? So the specific definition of it within the Four Immeasurables, that we feel equally great love for everyone, not just our favorite people. And we feel equal compassion for everyone, not just our favorite people. And likewise with sympathetic joy. Somebody we love has something wonderful happen. They get just the job they wanted, and we're so happy for them. We're, jumping up and down, and once it's safe, hugging them. And that's just spontaneous sympathetic joy because we can feel our connection to them. Well, once we can feel deeply connected to everybody, we feel equally happy when somebody far away gets just the job they wanted. And we wish for that for everybody. And we might even get up off the cushion and do something in our lives to help that to happen. The near enemy, as it's called, of equanimity is indifference, where we feel equally indifferent toward everybody. So that's just kind of numbness, and that's not what we're going for. All these four immeasurables are about feeling deep, strong connection with everyone. So if you're kind of not feeling much at all, that's not it. You're feeling equally disconnected. That's not it. So, part of that whole stepping out, there's a whole piece of it where we're working with people we normally do feel indifferent about, and working to get ourselves past that indifference to feeling the truth of things, which is we are actually connected about them, and so we naturally then care about them. Well, sympathetic joy is an interesting one. So it's obvious what the opposite of it would be, which is we're jealous that they had something good happen, right? And that is sometimes how we feel. And so these practices of shamatha and vipassana help us to have what the scientists call meta-awareness, awareness of what your mind is doing. And so we can catch ourselves in the act and realize, oh, I'm really far away from sympathetic joy here. I need to work on this. But the first thing is to notice it, and then you can work on it. This happens on the cushion all the time. We find ourselves in the far enemy, the near enemy. The far enemy is usually easy because it's the opposite. The near enemy is more difficult. And in the case of sympathetic joy, it's more like we just don't really rejoice that much for them. We don't really care that much that they got the job or whatever. And so noticing, am I, just as happy for them as they are for themselves? If not, that's something for me to look at and work on. With, let's see, compassion. So the far enemy is, wishing somebody harm, wishing to see somebody suffer. And, we have felt that about people sometimes. Luckily, that's one that's really obvious, and we can usually catch ourselves in the act. And then we have practices, to help turn that around and so on. And there might need to be some forgiveness practice there as well. But the near enemy for compassion, as with all near enemies, much harder to spot than the far enemy. We think we're practicing compassion, but actually it could be pity. And that feels very different on the receiving end. So perhaps you can stop and think of a time when somebody's just given you true compassion and how that's felt. Usually feels pretty good. Versus pity, which feels terrible. And the reason why it feels so different is, I think there's a one up, one down kind of feeling. Oh, poor you. So that's ego-tinged because I'm sort of above and you're down there. And compassion isn't that way at all. It's just, I'm right there feeling with you. So there's no question of up, down, or anything like that. And ego is taking a back seat. And in compassion, we're really connected. Whereas when I pity somebody, there's actually a distancing going on. And if there wasn't some already, that person is probably going to step back because, this is not helpful. So you can gauge the near enemy in all of the four immeasurables by looking at, is there ego tinge to it? Or am I feeling more connected? Because that's actually the point of all of the four immeasurables.